So Finance Act 2020-25. Now dates are very much important, and some students they get confused in the years as well. And I'll tell you like the trick as well. So Finance Act 2025 means that fiscal year started from 6th April 2025 and ended on 5th April 2026. Now, what is the date today? It is like, 6 June. So what has happened is that this Finance Act, like, obviously examiner will examine you on the past. It is not going to examine you in the future or something on the present. So wherever Finance Act 2025 is mentioned, it simply means that we are talking about 6th April 2025 that has ended on 5th April 2026. And in short form, we will call it as Finance Act FIFA 2526. But when we talk about the attempts, like in which attempts this act is going to be examined, so it means we are talking about 26, 27. But this is not the finance act. These are your ACCA attempts, the monthly attempts. So June 2026 till June 2027, you will get the dates that are going to be surrounded in 25, 2026 FY. That is your fiscal year. Okay. So if I begin with my little introduction as well in the slides. So I'm Sahar. Okay, I'm an ACCA member and I'm going to be FCCA soon. So I have like a more than a decade of teaching experience, and my versatility in working includes that I have been like a part of Big Four as well. I'm ex-PwC. I work in EY, so I'm in technology department. So my work relates to taxation for teaching purposes. Like I have compiled up, many of the findings from different countries. Like every country has their own taxation system. So you are just studying this variant, that is the Tax UK, or we call it as Tax International. Okay. So before I proceed, are there any generic questions if you want to ask? So I would like to answer it. Apart from that, I'll move on. Okay, nothing as such. Right. Now, this is the syllabus area where ACCA taxation, the examiner expects from every student to have the knowledge, calculation part, theoretical part, knowledge wise, application wise, analysis wise. They expect the tax student to be like this when when you're going to attempt your examination. So these are the 6 areas. So I'm just going to tell you the crux of all the areas because detail will be covered in every of the topic if you will study. So the area is income tax. So income tax surrounds the individuals. Okay, if I'm doing my job, if I'm an employee, or if I'm an employer, I'm having my property income or whatever source of income I'm earning in UK, I'll have to pay tax to HMRC. So now what should a student be able to calculate or to do in this exam? You should know how to calculate the total income. Then you should know how you have to apply the allowances. You know, what does an allowance do? In tax, it reduces your income. Now, if my income is 50,000 pounds and I'm getting an allowance of, let's suppose, I'm just giving an imaginary figure for now, 12,570. So my income will reduce, but what's the benefit of this to me, to an individual? Why tax authorities has given this personal allowance figure? So the benefit is that the less my income, the less tax I'll have to pay. Because from where an individual will pay the tax? So individual, yes, obviously it's going to pay from the income. If I will not have any income, I'm not going to pay the tax as well. Okay. So this is what the personal allowance functions. It functions like a release. And then obviously I should be able to calculate the tax liabilities. And this is something which you can apply in your real life as well. So if a student is able to learn the formats, the chronology, the sequence of, what should come first, what should be subtracted first, what is the function of every of the header, that student is going to excel in real life as well. There are so many scenarios and almost everyone wants their income tax to be calculated. It's electronic in UK, but obviously somebody has to file it. Okay. Then moving towards the corporation tax. So this area is not for the individuals, rather it's for the companies. So again, we call, like, there's no income for the company, but we call them total profits. So we have to find out the taxable total profits. Then again, whatever allowances are there for the companies. So you'll have to apply those all. And there are the rates of taxation as well, which are given to you in your exam. So you don't need to learn anything. You only need to practice it and apply your learned concepts. So this is what examiner also expects from you, and all of this thing will be communicated to all the students by me. Moving forward, TGT. This is an area, chargeable gains tax. In our life as well, we do this thing. If I bought an asset, let's say 5 years ago, and now I'm selling it. Let's say it's a cupboard, it's jewelry, whatsoever. So will that be counted as my income? No, that's not your income, because selling your asset formulate the part of gain or loss. So it's not your income. Basically, it will be called as your chargeable gains. So uh, HMRC, what have they done is they have laid out separate principles, separate taxation rates to tax the chargeable gain. So you will learn about the different rules, about the different assets, that if an individual is gifting something, to their spouses, to their relatives. So how HMRC looks into all of these things. Moving forward, value added tax, in UK, in Dubai, in Pakistan, we have like the GST system. Everywhere there are certain kinds of the indirect taxation with their own names. So value added tax is simply an indirect tax, and it means that still when I'm going to purchase the thing, I don't have to bear. But if I'm going to purchase something, along with that price, I have to pay this tax. Income tax is a direct tax. Corporation tax direct. CGT direct. Because when I'll get my salary, I always get my net income. I'm not going to get the gross ever. But value added tax is like when I'll purchase something, then I'll have to pay for it. So it's a very simple concept of input and output tax in the VAT section. And this is like a small topic. It's not a very detailed topic in ACCA taxation. Then we have inheritance tax. So if there are some individuals who have, like, inherited the wealth, states, what you will have to know about the value of the state, transfers of that donor-donee relationship, and then you will have to pay the inheritance tax if you are inheriting something from your ancestors. So how this is going to be accounted for, we will study in that topic when we will explore about it in greater detail. And then administration. So obviously, nothing can get ever completed without, the admin function. So compliance, self-assessment, if somebody is paying their taxes late, so HMRC will levy penalties on them. What are the rates of those penalties? You should be able to know about those things as well. So these are almost the six areas, six syllabus areas, which are covered in ACC taxation. Moving forward, this is the examination structure. So your exam consists of 100 marks, right? And those who have given the skills examination, so they must know about the format for all the exams. So section 8 constitutes of 15 OTQs. Okay, these are your objective task questions that can come up in any style, and it covers full syllabus. So the six areas that I've shown you, OTQs are going to come from anywhere. There is no choice. So 30 marks are covered like that. Moving forward in section B, where you're having the MTQs, so there that covers the three case scenarios. And ACCA has mentioned full syllabus, but as per my experience and as the trend has been followed, I can tell you that these three case scenarios are from which topics. You can write it down that they are from VAT 10 marker, IST 10 marker, and then the CGT 10. So 10, 10, and 10, this makes up 30. So it's a confirmed thing. These three topics don't come in CRQs. They only come in section B. So now, if there is no choice in any of the syllabus or, in your examination, because this is a thing in ACCA that we don't have choices, but we do know the roadmap. So if you know that you have to walk on these three roads, you can easily, like, walk on this because you know about it. So this is the structure. Then section C, this is your constructive response questions, where three questions comes in ACCA taxation. And one is a 10 marker that can come from anywhere, but it's more related to a tax planning question. So examiner will give you 2 to 3 scenarios, and he will ask you that, what advices you should give in that situation, what recommendation should you give in that situation, circumstances. So it's a scenario based question. Okay. Then there comes the 2 15 markers, which are from income tax and corporation. So let me get back there. So it is examining income tax 15 marker, corporation tax 15 marker, 10, 10, 10, and obviously this will be covered in MCQ. So there is no syllabus area that will remain unexamined. So you have to prepare for all. No choice in that. That's how your 100 marks are made. Now, any questions still here? Okay. This is like your exam percentage and how much you should expect minimum and maximum. Just like I told you, examiner will give 15 marks minimum. So max you can expect 30%. So likewise, I have made up this bar graph for all of the topics. That's how you should prepare every topic. So likewise, all of the sections are going to be covered. So the highest, your your progress will depend upon these two sections. So either you want to do it in the beginning, do it in the beginning. If you want to do it in the end to remember everything, that's totally your choice. Okay. So this is like the 40 marks to section C that I was just telling you, that income tax 15, corporation tax, and this is like it can come from anywhere. So we cannot spot on it anything. Now coming towards the UK compliance framework, because the laws and the punishments included with it if you break the law. It's very, very high penalties, and reputational loss is also considered a thing because everyone is recorded, everything is recorded over there electronically. So the compliance framework is that operation of HMRC, you should understand, every country has the governing taxation bodies. So in UK, we have His Majesty Revenue and Customs. Then self-assessment system, there are the deadlines, direct versus indirect tax system mechanism. Just like I told you, what happens in direct tax, you don't get the gross, you get the net. Your employer deducts that taxation on your behalf and then pays it to HMRC, but indirect one, you have the control. Then you will learn the payment dates for income tax for every of the syllabus area. And then what are the penalties? So section A, this administration, it's about this one. So this will be covered in like just a 4 hours class. That's all, along with the exam practice and an examination. This area comes like 2 to 6 marks only. So it's the very least priority area that we should get. Then there are some important concepts regarding what's a capital expenditure, what's a revenue one. It's the same, just like you study in your financial reporting perspective or your financial accounting perspective. But for tax purpose, you should know that, what's a revenue, capital expenditure, because um, a business says this thing, for example, that I have bought a heavy plant and machinery for this year and I'm not going to pay tax on it. So will HMRC give him some relief, or how that thing is going to operate depends upon, you should know that which expenses are actually revenue and which are capital. So it is not possible that a company will say that, I have painted my whole building and now I want relief on that. No. So every nature of the expense is important over here. And okay, and when I was saying like things, so yeah, so that's why distinguishing and the difference is very much important over here. And then in the classes you are going to be presented with the formats, the because whenever you're going to solve the questions in Excel, in Microsoft Excel or whatever spreadsheet you are following, so over there you will be learning about the application of the formats as well. So you just have to see the headers and put amounts on that as well. So this will help all of the students in practicing them. So this is like a core requirement over here. I've just mentioned it as, a one-liner thing, that what's a revenue and what's a capital one. So these are like the basics. So when you're going to start taxation, you should know these concepts like before. And if you don't know, then you can start from this. These are the topic starters. Then reliefs and exemptions. So you should know that, again, functions of the allowances. So there are so many allowances in taxation that many students get confused as well. That in every topic has their own allowances. So you should know which allowance is going to fall in which of the topic. Okay, then again, the calculations you will be given. Then there are many reliefs, it has their conditions. Exemptions means it's 0% taxation. So even in exam, examiner says this thing again and again, that wherever you think it's an exemption, mention it. I'll just give you an example, that when you will be doing employment income, so one mobile phone is exempt for every employee. Like if your employer has given you a mobile phone, and it's a benefit, so you don't need to pay tax on it. So what students do is that they say, okay, one mobile phone is exempt. They don't write anything in their workings or in their calculations. Examiner has marked and kept on some marks for that. So you need to mention why is this zero. You will write down mobile phone zero. Why? Because one is exempt. Because they have given you the rules and the laws as well. So write that thing. And then again, whatever is exempt, you will have to mention that as well. Okay, moving forward. Then personal taxation and the corporate taxation. So personal taxation means for every of the individual, just like you and I, and corporate taxes for the companies. So what is like inside the topic and outside the topic, we will be exploring all the tiles when gradually when syllabus would be unfolded out there. So now coming towards the classes schedule and the preparation schedule as well. So one thing I would say that it all depends upon abilities of the students. Now, it depends upon how you are taking the course. So, may I know out of the participants that how many of you take like the recorded sessions pure 100%, and how many of you are like taking it, or what's the plan? Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell like for all the modes basically, because the course that I have made up is it's for all. Okay, so this is not something that is like, if I have mentioned it, so it means everyone should follow this. No, it's totally depends upon you how you are going to break your topics. I'll share a planner with you that I have made it. It's a sample one, but everyone can make it up of their own. So according to my planner, my teaching classes, it's like that you are going to utilize your first month and cover up these topics. Okay, ethics and VAT is that portion usually which I take on the second or third week, and I do these topics earlier. But every attempt, it all depends. So according to my planner, it's like last 2 weeks you have to keep for your revision and for your CV practice. So I'm talking now about the last 2 weeks of August, because in September you will have your exam. So classes schedule, it also follows these things. Now, again, if the students are going for the recorded classes, then obviously there will not be any of the live classes that they will be taking. But for all the registered students that goes on, I keep up a live class as well, and that's on demand. So we can set up the timings and other stuff after the registration process will pass by. So every of the topic is here. Now, this is something related to the examination technique. Okay, 100 markers, 1.8 minutes you have to spend on every mark. This is also not something that strictly it should be followed. You can manage your time by yourself as well. If a student can do a question in seconds, so its time will be saved. And I'll just share my personal experience with you over here, that when I was in ACCA tax student, I gave my examination. It was 3 hours, 20 minutes at that time. And I completed my exam in 1 hour, 20 minutes. So lots of time was saved of mine. Okay, so this is like not an issue when and you have understood the topic. So in detail in the classes as well, I'll share that what was my strategy and how I prepared for that. So these are some of the very basic tips that I have written over here. You have to master performance. If someone would ask me, should I learn it? Yes, you have to learn it. You have to practice this thing. Don't learn the rates, learn to apply it. And then you have to show your work. Okay. So this is like your threshold. I've already told you these things. CV practice platform is very much important. I practice everything in front of the students in my platform, and then I share it from there as well. So you are also supposed to do the same. So this is the orientation from my side. Now, any queries that can be entertained? Yes, please.